My guest today has had a distinctive career in business and politics. He's a member of the Republican Party. He served in the New Jersey General Assembly from 2011 to 2018, representing the 16th Legislative District. He was also the Republican nominee in the 2021 New Jersey gubernatorial election, which he narrowly lost to the incumbent Democratic Governor Phil Murphy. Since then, he has re-energized the Republican Party in New Jersey and helped lead candidates to historic victories throughout the state. Welcome to ITV Gold Studio, Mr. Jack Ciattarelli.
Nidhi, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I would start with your story. Your story is a New Jersey story. Tell us about your growing up years here, your family, the changes you've observed in New Jersey over the years.
My grandparents immigrated to New Jersey about 100 years ago from Italy. And my grandfather was a laborer, and my father married my mother. She was from Brooklyn, and they settled in the town that my grandparents had immigrated to. And that's where my parents raised their 4 children. So I'm a lifelong resident of the state. I went to college here. My bachelor's degree is in accounting, my MBA in finance from Seton Hall University. I've passed and sat and passed the CPA exam. I owned my own publishing business. I've employed fellow New Jerseyans. And I've also had the privilege of serving at every level of government in New Jersey. I was a municipal official. Years later, I was a county official. A little while after that, I served in the New Jersey State Legislature, as you had mentioned. And then last year, ran for governor.
Tell me the changes you've observed over the years in New Jersey.
I remember New Jersey as a place where people felt they could achieve their American dream. My parents always felt that way. Unfortunately, when you ask people if this is a place where they want to live out their lives or do they feel confident they can achieve their American dream here, more than 1/2 of New Jerseyans say no. It's become terribly expensive to live in New Jersey, a very, very difficult state in which to retire. And if you want to start your own business, it's a very, very difficult state in which to do business. So certainly one of my goals in serving as a public official is to make sure that people feel confident they can achieve their American dream here, and make sure too that New Jersey is welcoming to every new wave of immigrants. And speaking of that, I want to congratulate you. I understand that after your legal immigration to this country, that you'll be voting as a citizen for the first time this November. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Your party candidates are up and running for the midterm elections, and you have been a strong support system for them, making public appearances at the party events, campaigning for the candidates. What is the single most important advice you give them?
I tell people who are running for office, make sure you're out amongst the voters every single day and touching them, literally if you can, with a handshake. I think that's one of the things that brings great energy to a campaign. A candidate who's out every single day speaking with people, listening, and touching their hand by shaking it and telling them what they're going to do if elected. Although I did not win last year, it doesn't mean the campaign was unsuccessful.
No, I wouldn't
We
say
flipped
that.
134 seats statewide at the municipal and county level. We flipped 150 Board of Education seats.
Wow.
We flipped 8 seats in the state legislature, including beating the sitting Senate president. And I want to continue to build on that momentum. And I really feel as though we're going to. There's a lot of people this year that have been very, very kind in saying, Jack, you've kind of set the standard for energy in a candidate. And I do find a lot of candidates this year demonstrating that same energy, which is really what wins elections.
Wonderful. What makes you think in a heavily Democratic state your party can win?
Well, if you look at history, New Jersey has elected Republican candidates over and over again. The little town that I started out in Raritan, Democrats outnumbered Republicans 3-1. I won twice. In the county in which I was a county commissioner, Democrats outnumbered Republicans. I won twice. And in the state legislature, the 16th legislative district, which you had mentioned during my kind introduction, Democrats outnumbered Republicans significantly. Going into last year's governor's race, 6 of the last 10 times in this supposedly deep blue state, we had elected a Republican governor. You know, I really believe, Niti, when you go out and shake hands with people, look them in the eye, listen, and tell them how you're going to solve their problems, they'll go out on election day and they'll vote for you. I think a majority of people vote for the person, not the party.
Very true. NJ is a very small state, yet it is overpopulated not with people but with government. In fact, with governments. It has 25 times more municipalities, school boards, and personnel. Then it has 20 times more elected officials. Here, politicians can have 2 to 3 salaries, can be in the legislative and executive branch, as well as can hold no-show state, county, municipal jobs to build a hefty pension to legally loot the taxpayers. In 38 states of America, it is banned, and in Indiana, holding 2 offices is a Class D felony, at par with drug possession and punishable by up to 3 years in prison. Why is it allowed in New Jersey?
So New Jersey loves its home rule. We have 565 towns, 600 school districts, and you do find a lot of overlap amongst some public officials. Some have been grandfathered in terms of the number of titles they can hold, but I think you'll find today with the laws that exist, fewer and fewer people are holding dual office. Having said that, it's not something that's usually well received by the voting public when they hear that one person holds 2 or 3 jobs in government and is able to aggregate the salaries to qualify for one pension.
Right.
Back in my time in the legislature, we have banned all that. So you're no longer allowed to add salaries from 2 or 3 or 4 different positions to qualify for one pension. And most of these government jobs that city officials or county officials hold are considered part-time, which means they no longer qualify for benefits like pension and health care. So it's, some people were grandfathered in, but as time goes by, they're being phased out, and any people that are newly elected are not able to qualify for any of those very generous benefits.
That's good to know.
Very good.
Why does New Jersey have 564 municipal governments, 21 county governments, and 1 state government with 10,000 elected representatives and 600,000 employees for 8.8 million residents? Giving you an example, Delhi, capital of India, has only 85,000 employees for 30 million people in contrast. What are your views on that?
This is one of the reasons why property taxes are so high in New Jersey, because we have all this government. As you said, 565 towns, 21 counties, 600 school districts. So people like to complain about property taxes, and rightfully so. They're too high. But yet at the same time, people like having their little small community with their own little mayor, right? Their police department, their school district. So that's the challenge of New Jersey.
Certainly, do you approve of that?
I don't approve of all the duplication that certainly adds to the property tax bill. But at the same time, I respect people's wishes, because whenever you ask them, are you willing to consolidate towns? Are you willing to consolidate police departments? Are you willing to consolidate school districts? They'll tell you no. And I always like to have some fun with them and say, well, don't complain about your property taxes. Certainly as someone who still would like to be governor one day, I can lower property taxes, and we can do that by the way the state government funds our public schools.
Yes, we'll come to that question as well. The state motto is liberty and prosperity. What is your opinion on the governance of New Jersey? Do you think the present government honors and abides by that motto?
I really don't think it does. When you think about New Jersey is the worst place in the country in which to do business. It was recently ranked dead last in the nation amongst the Tax Foundation. When you think about New Jersey being a state where you can't retire because of the way we tax retirement income and because of things like property taxes, how can anyone feel confident about liberty and prosperity? So I'd like to get back to New Jersey that my parents were proud to raise their family in. One where you can get ahead, one where you could start your own business as my parents did, and one that you could securely retire in. If we could do those things, have people feel confident they can get ahead, have people feel confident that they can create their own business, have people feel confident they could retire here securely, I think then that we've won the battle and liberty and prosperity exists for all.
New Jersey has the highest property tax. Homeowners in New Jersey may pay more than $8,000 per year in property taxes depending on the value of their home. Seniors are moving out of New Jersey because they can't afford such high taxes. What's your proposal for cutting taxes and fixing school funding to lower property taxes?
So a lot of people realize that their property tax bill, Niti, is broken up into 3 parts. There's the municipal portion. It's usually anywhere from 15 to 20%. There's the county portion, 15 to 20% of your property tax bill. And then there's the school tax, which can be anywhere from 60 to 80% of your property tax bill. And the reason that is so high in the vast majority of our towns is because of the way the state distributes state aid for schools. We have a current formula that's really very arbitrary and doesn't, in my opinion, treat all towns fairly. We need parity. And so as governor, I would have a new school funding formula that would more fairly distribute $15 billion in state aid for public schools, and in so doing, lower property taxes. And I guarantee that we can do that without leaving any child or any community behind anywhere in New Jersey.
Wonderful. Is the state borrowing too much and spending on things we don't need? What are those things? What do you plan to reverse credit downgrades, grow the economy, and create new jobs for New Jersey?
Well, the first thing we need to do is make New Jersey a better place to do business, and we can do that with significant changes to the tax code. As someone who's practiced as a CPA, I know what those changes are. For example, Pennsylvania, their governor, who's a Democrat, by the way, just cut the corporate business tax in Pennsylvania in half, from 10% to 5%, to make Pennsylvania a more attractive place to do business. Wow. That leaves New Jersey now with 11% business tax, one of the highest in the nation. So we can make New Jersey a better place to do business and create more jobs by cutting our business tax in half, the same way that Pennsylvania did. The other thing I think that we need to do is control spending. In the 5 years that Phil Murphy's been governor, our state budget has gone from $36 billion to $51 billion. Wow. I don't think people would mind that 40% increase in spending so much if New Jersey now had some of the lowest property taxes in the nation, and it was one of the best places in the country to do business, and you could easily get an appointment at the Division of Motor Vehicles, or you can easily get somebody on the phone in state government to take care of your problem, but none of that's the case. So here we've increased all this spending, and yet New Jersey still has a state government that really is not responsive to its citizens.
When you say we don't have to become the California of the East Coast, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, Phil Murphy was famous for saying that he wanted to make New Jersey a progressive blue beacon and the California of the East Coast. I don't think we want to be any of the 40 United States. We want to be New Jersey. And I really don't consider New Jersey a progressive state, a far-right state, or a far-left state. I really consider New Jersey a mainstream state. And so what I'm looking to do is institute more mainstream policies that address kitchen table issues for New Jerseyans. And that includes property taxes, making New Jersey a better place to do business, particularly on Main Street, and getting our public school curriculum back on track. I think this is particularly important in the South Asian community, which uses our public schools, as my family did, and as Melinda and I sent our 4 children to public schools. You want to feel confident that the public school system is teaching critical life skills, like reading, writing, and math, so our children can be successful in life. Whatever it is they decide to do, we've got to get our public school curriculum back on track. So those are the mainstream, not extreme policies that I think we really, really need. We don't need to be California. We need to get back to being New Jersey.
You are a moderate conservative. You are in favor of abortion rights prior to 20 weeks of pregnancy, but support banning abortion after 20 weeks of pregnancy, except in cases where the patient's life is in danger. And you did not support overturning Roe v. Wade, the landmark Supreme Court ruling. When you have an opinion different from the popular consensus of the Republican Party, does it create issues or challenges within the party?
I don't think it does if you're completely honest about your position, and more importantly, you're very respectful of those that may disagree with you, and you listen closely to their position, because there may be something to learn. And so one of the things I tried to do last year as a gubernatorial candidate is, if you will, teach our party how to talk about issues that have always been kind of touchy or very sensitive for us. Because on the whole, New Jersey is a right of center state. The vast majority of New Jerseyans are fiscally conservative, but they're socially moderate. I always think of myself as a libertarian in the sense that I've never wanted government to get involved in the most personal of decisions.
You oppose New Jersey's current laws regarding LGBTQ curriculum in 6th grade. You want to reform requirements for sexual and social education to make content less dogmatic and more age-appropriate for elementary and middle school-aged children. Have the New Jersey parents supported you on this despite their political inclination?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you used the words age-appropriate. The discussion that needs to take place, and I think it's a very fair and reasonable discussion amongst reasonable people, What is and is not an age-appropriate curriculum? What I said during the debates last year with Phil Murphy, I stand by. I don't believe that we should be teaching gender identification or sexual orientation in kindergarten. I don't believe that we should be teaching explicit sex acts to 12-year-olds, fifth graders. Phil Murphy does. And I think when it comes to any one individual's accomplishments, we should speak to their professional accomplishments, not to their sexuality. And I really do believe that if we want to accomplish tolerance and inclusivity and stop bullying and hatred, what we should be teaching our children is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
True. What is your plan for the illegal or undocumented immigrants in New Jersey?
As governor, I would never ever have made New Jersey a sanctuary state or had any of our mayors declare their cities, towns, sanctuary cities. I think that only encourages illegal immigration. The other thing that I would do is work very closely with the other 49 governors and therefore then with the president to come up with a national immigration plan. I don't think it's fair that because of the migrant crisis, for example, in Central America, there's 2 or 3 states that bear the burden of all the illegal immigration.
True.
We can't just sit here as a northeastern state and say, oh, let's not worry about Texas, let's not worry about Arizona, don't worry about Florida. No, we should all be in this together. So, one, we shouldn't be encouraging illegal immigration with sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. You're a legal immigrant, right?
Yes.
You went about it the right way. And here you are today, a citizen of the country. And we welcome you with open arms.
Thank you.
But we need to work in partnership. And so I, as one of 50 governors, would make sure the National Governors Association worked in close partnership with the president to address the illegal immigrant situation.
Describe your relationship with the South Asian or the Indian American community. Do you support the US foreign policies with India, or would you want some changes or fixing to them?
Well, to be honest, I'm not completely intimate with what our relationship is with India with regard to immigration, but I'm willing to learn. But I'll tell you, one of the great experiences of a gubernatorial campaign is the opportunity to get up close and personal with any one of New Jersey's very many diverse populations, and that includes South Asian and Indian American community. And so that was great fun last year. And I had people on the team like Priti Patel and others who were very instrumental in teaching me how best to connect with the South Asian community. And I'd like to think that I was well received there. I know we had a lot of fun. We met with a great many people, attended a great many events, and I think it reflected itself in the voting once the election was over.
True. Many New Jerseyans will agree that New Jersey needs a new direction and would welcome Jack Ciattarelli to be the governor of New Jersey in 2025. Thank you so much for talking to ITV Gold. Please let us know your concluding statement.
Well, Nidhi, thank you for having me, and it's great to be with you and your audience today. I'm really all about New Jersey. This year, my focus is obviously on the congressional midterms. Next year, we'll focus on the legislative elections. All 120 seats in the state legislature will be back up on the ballot. And then in early 2024, I plan to make an announcement as to what my plans are. I still very much would like to be governor one day, and I look forward to getting to know the South Asian American community only better and forging a closer and closer working relationship with them to make New Jersey a place where they feel confident they can achieve their American dream. So again, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.